Underwater.
Okay, are you ready,
Oh,
Dario?
wait.
So what is the story called?
An Elephant of a Time by Freddie Rick.
Okay, let me do a marker. There we go. I don't know where it starts. Nice.
Summary. Peach and Daisy get up to trouble in the Pipe Rock Plateau. Daisy gets up a little more trouble than anticipated. Read the tags. The tags are anal war, unwilling prey, unwilling pred, elephant fruit, accidental war, video game mechanics, improper use of video game mechanics, dead dove, do not eat, smaller prey, larger pred, size difference, size king, belly king. Did you understand that, Dario?
Sounds like a lot of fetishes.
Peach and Daisy were exploring the Pipe Rock Plateau after being tasked with saving Prince Florian's kingdom. Instead of rushing forth to once again defeat Bowser, with Mario and Luigi, the two princesses decided to work much more leisurely. The new kingdom had a wide range of new creatures and places to see. Currently they were wandering around the southwestern area of the plateau, taking in the calm air and watching the hippos graze. Finally deciding to carry on, Peach and Daisy start looking for wonder seeds. The new kingdom also has new power-ups, one of which Peach has had the pleasure of obtaining herself. Peach has obtained herself an elephant fruit. It was quite a power-up that made her a whole block taller than her companion. The strange fruit also gives its user increased strength and a prehensile trunk that can be used for fighting and spraying water. Currently, Peach was using her new ability to play around with the hippos. It turns out they are quite bouncy, and unfortunately for them, there's quite a few holes that they could fall into. Peach carelessly jumps from hippo to hippo, while Daisy, power-up-less, was dealing with some Coopers. Daisy was, unfortunately, rather new to the run and jump action that Mario and the gang were so well acclimated to, and jumped on a Koopa shell only for it to bounce off of a wall behind her and tripping her up. Unfortunately for her, this also makes her a whole block shorter. Peach, not really paying attention to Daisy's little stumble, lands nearby after a particularly high combo. Feeling quite prideful of her own skillful display, Peach decides to try for another combo and begins running head-on at an unsuspecting hippo. In an attempt to tackle the hippo, she instead bounces right off, getting flung back with a surprising amount of speed. It is at this time that Daisy sits up, still dazed from her shelling. Daisy opens her eyes to the massive body of Peach hurling straight for her. Peach white bloomers on full display. Daisy braces herself and holds her out her hands. I think that's a mistake. Daisy braces herself and holds out her hands in hopes of protecting her smaller self, but is completely engulfed by the silky cloth before they rip.
Let it rip.
Peach's mass is unhindered by Daisy's attempt to deflect her as Daisy is forced between Peach's elephantine rear. Peach finally crashes into the ground, forcing Daisy's unintentionally streamlined finger into her anus. Peach continues to slide back, unable to stop herself because of the surprise sensation of something penetrating her ass. Daisy is dragged along and forced arms first into Peach's ring. She's helpless to keep herself from getting pushed deeper as the whole sequence is over in seconds. Daisy's head quickly pops inside with her arms, which is soon followed by her dressed torso, then the plumage of her dress along with her legs. Daisy is stunned, face twisted into a grimace with her eyes closed tight before she realizes everything has stopped moving. Daisy begins to absorb her surroundings once more, no longer so focused on protecting herself. The first thing she feels is the tightness of her confines as she tries to move her arms and shimmies her legs. She feels the moist, fleshy walls grip all around her head and face, her unsleeved upper arms getting the same treatment. Not long after she begins feeling the heat from her surroundings, higher than what is considered normal body temperature due to Peach's increased mass. Daisy then begins to hear Peach's body as it heaves large breaths and beats its heart. There's a long moment of inaction from both parties as they try to come to terms with what just happened. Finally, Daisy has had enough of her steadily increasing discomfort and begins to squirm with more vigor. Peach is startled by the internal movement, causing her to gasp and clench her insides even tighter around Daisy. Daisy gives a displeased groan before the walls recede once again. Peach looks to her belly with no visible sign of anything changing. Although she can certainly feel the squirming of her fellow companion, she quickly speaks up.
Daisy? Are you okay?
Peach rubs her barrel-like belly as she tries to think of some way to relieve the situation. Daisy is growing more and more uncomfortable as the heat and moisture seep into her very being.
No!
She replies with distress in her voice. The dress is now damp with the moisture from Peach's insides, which only leads to more discomfort for the trapped princess. There's another pause in the conversation before Daisy speaks once again, becoming distraught at the lack of action on her captor's part.
Get me out of here already!
She screams as she tries to thrash against her surroundings. Peach gasps as she is once again shaken from her confusion.
Sorry, I'll get you out.
Peach stands, causing a groan from Daisy as her insides shift before bending over to see if anything remains exposed. To Peach's surprise and embarrassment, she sees Daisy's heels still wiggling in open air. Peach thinks for a moment to consider how to go about extracting her friend. If she pushes, she could squish Daisy even more, so she decides to use her trunk to pull her out. Peach lets out a huff as she prepares herself for the process.
Okay, I'm going to try to pull you out. Bear with it, alright?
Daisy is completely at the whims of Peach and can do nothing but wait as she feels Peach's trunk tug on her heels slightly.
Fine, just please hurry!
Soon after, Peach secures her grip on Daisy's heels before firmly pulling, but instead of Daisy being dragged out of them, they begin slipping off her feet.
Wait, they're slipping!
Daisy shouts for Peach to stop, but is too late as her heels slip off, leaving only her feet which are dragged in to join the rest of her. Daisy began to sob as her hopes were quickly dashed. She tries to press her feet against Peach's inner pucker, but only ends up pushing herself deeper in the process. Peach brings Daisy's heels to her hands before guiltily whimpering.
Oh no!
Peach rubs her belly again in hopes of somehow soothing her friend.
I'm so sorry, Daisy. I don't know what to do.
Peach winces as she feels Daisy struggle with him, unable to help.
Alright, you sit tight. I'm going to go see if one of the poplins can help. Sorry if it gets uncomfortable.
Peach takes a light jog to the nearby house that was rescued from Bowser's control, making the trip quite less enjoyable for Daisy. Daisy is powerless to stop the surrounding flesh from assaulting her as Peach finds her help for the unfortunate situation. With the added movement, it only makes it worse. Daisy finds herself bouncing up and down like a mouse caught in a silky. Slowly, the surroundings become even harder from the added work Peach is putting her body through. It feels like a furnace and saps Daisy of any energy to try and keep from getting jostled around. She hears the constant beating of Peach's heart increase in tempo along with the thuds of her large footsteps. Daisy groans in anguish as her senses are unceasingly bombarded with stimuli.
Okay.
Things change very suddenly, however, as her confines become a magnitude tighter before Peach crashes into the ground face first. Daisy feels her body forced against the ground under the now seemingly lighter weight of her accidental captor.
There must be a castaway nearby.
Daisy can only
This
groan
ultra frog.
uncomfortably as Peach tries to right herself.
What's going on out there?
Daisy asks as Peach removes her weight from the top of her. Peach lets out a whiny apology.
Look, that's what.
Wow.
Sorry,
I'm
I
lagging
wish
so
Cooper
good.
Shell tricked me. I don't have any more elephant fruit left either.
Daisy sulks, knowing nothing can be done to help at this very moment.
Just find help!
She pleads defeatedly. Peach steels herself as she gets up on shaky legs.
Right.
Peach looks upon her now quite large belly as it contains her half-sized friend. It looks as if she's pregnant and expecting triplets. She lets out a huff and begins dwelling to her destination. The journey is much slower now that Peach has much more to carry proportionally. Fortunately for Daisy, it is much less warm inside of her now
Some pigment
normal
die?
princess.
Two
The
pigmen
gentle
died.
swaying actually becoming rather
Must
soothing.
start standing.
The walk took almost an hour before Peach finally reached the entrance to the home that was taken back from Bowser. Peach lets out a relieved sigh before finally opening the door. Once inside, Peach explains the situation to the Poplin that was helped early on that
wallet.
After the Poplin expresses their willingness to help and the conversation ends, however, Peach's belly begins to glow in a flash of bluish light. It expands as if it were a bag full of unpopped popcorn as a jingle could be heard from inside. Peach is pulled to the floor from the sudden increase in weight and size as her belly rips through her dress, exposing it to the open air. Peach is left shocked and confused as she holds her now princess-sized belly. Inside, Daisy whines in dismay as she's once again constricted even tighter, having barely enough room to move the slightest inch. Peach, alarmed, asks Daisy what happened.
Daisy? What happened?
Daisy tries desperately to loosen her near-suffocating surroundings, having to look up to keep the warts away from her mouth.
I have the stupid auto mushroom badge on!
Peach can do nothing but look upon her massive belly with discontent. This may be more challenging than they hoped. Notes. I played the game for like an hour before I got the idea for the story. It's my first written work. I know it's rough, but I have much more in the works. Expect bigger and better things. Also, how do I intend on here? Well, that's the end.
So basically, he only played it for what, like only an hour, and now he already got an idea of how this whole thing works. He already knows the entire plot and the story and the characters. Rank ID now, isn't that interesting? This one's not from the task force.
Mugs! Popular for her brave reporting style, she was approached by a director to work on the project about the strange new planet.
Huh?
Wait just a minute. This face, it's so very familiar. Oh, I know who this is. She's that popular television reporter. I've long been admired of her work. But hold on, what's she doing here?
Oh. So you're a big fan, Ross? Ross? So I don't understand why Reagents doesn't work.
That fanfiction was fucking disgusting.